Speaking on behalf of the People's Democratic Movement, he noted that this is undoubtedly the darkest time in the country's history. He said his party supports the recommendations announced by His Excellency the Governor Gordon Wetherell. However, there are some objections that have already been relayed to His Excellency in a meeting held shortly before the drafted order in council went public.
And while we applaud His Excellency the Governor and the Commission of Inquiry in its recommendations to follow our advice of asset recovery and criminal prosecutions, we are concerned with the provisions that will allow for an advisory council and a consultative forum that can be made up of non-belongers and persons that are not registered voters in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Another area included in His Excellency Wetherell's report that Seymour says he's apprehensive about is the extension of the, quote, franchise of the TCI. He said he believes if anyone should be the driving force behind the country, it should be a Turks and Caicos Islander rather than a non-belonger, because the TCI has potential candidates suitable to sit in the head office and generate good governance.
There has to be some middle ground where we can achieve what is necessary while still ensuring that this country is represented and governed by people that we know to be Turks and Caicos Islanders. And the franchise of Turks and Caicos Islanders, as you would see, isn't diluted. One of the provisions, as you would see in the report, part of it, we talk about the enlargement of the franchise, and just to expand on that, I think that is a provision that's been heavily touted and lobbied to allow for non-belongers, including PRC holders and citizens of various countries, to be able to have to be able to vote in the Turks and Caicos Islands. I don't support that.
During the early morning meeting with His Excellency Wetherell, Seymour said that there were no proposals made to him on whether or not he wants to be a part of the interim government by the governor, and he doesn't know if that question is forthcoming. Seymour's position as a member of the House of Assembly is also in jeopardy, and as a member not being called to the Commission of Inquiry, he said that losing his post is one of his current dilemmas, whereby the innocent must suffer for the guilty.
The first thing is that the agenda needs to be clearly articulated, which it is not right now. From our press statements and press releases, we have clearly articulated what we believe the agenda ought to be. We have specific recommendations as it relates to the Integrity Commission bill. We have specific recommendations as it relates to elections ordinance. We have specific recommendations as it relates to new campaign finance legislation. We have a number of specifics in the release from the governor and in this report. The agenda of any interim administration isn't clearly articulated.
Seymour said that the People's Democratic Movement is currently in the process of reviewing the details of that report and will be responding more extensively in the days ahead. For WIV4 News, I'm Nikira John.